What is going on, STR Nation? Welcome back to a very special episode of the Short Term Rental Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sjogren, here as always with my main man and brother from another mother, Mr. Emmanuel Pani. What is up, E?
My brother, it is so good to see you. I am currently sitting in the patio of my grandparents' house in Sardinia. So this is the house that I grew up in. I was born in September. I was here within the first month of my life. Hasn't changed a bit. Still the same furniture. My dad, my grandparents bought this house when my dad was 1. My dad is 64 now. So this house has been in the family for quite a minute. And there was nothing. There was just land. All these houses that I see now was just empty land. And bro, it's been a special time. We're celebrating episode 200. I've been spending, as I told you guys on the last show, most of my time taking care of my grandpa, which is 96 and a half. Unfortunately, not quite here enough mentally for me to have conversations with him. And yet, like, we had pizza yesterday and he had like a half of a pizza by himself. So he's still
Love
here,
that.
like, he's still here kicking it and just enjoying life. I take him to the beach every day, and he's been, we get in the water and he still swims and still loves it. I had a 20-minute argument with him this morning because he wanted to wear socks to the beach. I lost the argument, so we went to the beach with him wearing
Dude, when
socks
you're
because,
96, you give
dude, but it's like being a kid. It's
nothing.
like arguing with a kid, right? It's like when you like talk to like Kaden or you talk to Cora soon, and she's gonna be like, "I'm leaving the house dressed like this." And you're like, "You're not," and they're like, "Watch me." That was him this morning. Like there was nothing. There was nothing I can do, bro. Like he would not take any answers, but I'm leaving dressed like this. I'm like, you know what, Grumps? If this
You
makes
do
you
you,
happy,
man.
yeah. If this makes you happy, this is what we're doing. So yeah, man, it's been a lot of soul time. It's been great. And just enjoying the weather, the boat. We went out on the sailboat with my aunt the other day, and it's just been that good taste of summer in a way that I haven't enjoyed in a long time. Without all, as you guys know, I run pretty bougie normally in life, so I'm used to like hotels and things, and this has been my childhood home. And my grandparents haven't touched it, right? So there's no AC, so I sleep with a fan, and so it's been interesting because it's been that, but it's been feeling so good for the soul that it's been. I don't know. It just feels good, you know.
I love that.
Yeah. Have you guys been enjoying summer? I've seen some pictures of you guys enjoying summer as well.
Yeah, man, it's been good. We finally sold our old house, closed yesterday, which is nice.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So that was good. It was also, again, to your point of like the sentimental. I mean, I was so ready to let that house go, and then as I'm doing the final walkthrough, making sure everything's cleaned out, I'm like seeing my son run down the stairs on Christmas morning, and like
Mm.
all these special moments that we had in there, and I'm like freaking crying, trying to leave the house. I'm like, get it together, man! Like we gotta get out of here. But really nice couple that bought it with a little one, so it was cool.
That's
But yeah,
special.
we've been enjoying it. We joined that Freedom Boat Club, which is awesome. It's right down the street from our house. So we've been going out, at least twice a week on the boat, and having a really good time. And yeah, man, finally just enjoying summer. It's really, really enjoying it, at this point. So
It's good. So we've been doing this now for a minute. 200 episodes. We're super grateful for, I mean, dude, for everything really, right? Like I never thought that we were gonna get to this point of doing all these episodes and having all the people that we had on and all the friends that we have met. So kind of what we were thinking about was to just talk about where we were and where we are now. But like 2 years ago, it was a very different situation. We were in a very different environment, and
4 years ago.
4 years ago,
Yeah.
yeah, wow, yeah, because it was COVID.
Yeah. It's COVID. Yeah, man, a lot has changed. And for a lot of people out there that are looking to grow their business, a piece of advice I would give you is start a podcast. Like,
Yeah,
seriously. The big thing is to be consistent with it. Again, and we've done a pretty good job of that. We got a little off this past winter, and that was more on me than on E. Just had a bunch of stuff going on with WealthCon, but you get to meet a lot of people, really expand your network, and you never know what doors are going to open. This podcast has definitely opened a lot of doors for us, and we've got to meet a lot of amazing people. and we got to help a lot of people, which is freaking awesome, man. So, really been focusing on the community in the Facebook group. We're over 7,500 people in there now, doing weekly live trainings, doing open Q&A, a lot more free coaching in there, which for me is super fulfilling. And I know you're getting more active in there as well, which is awesome. So
Hmm.
it's been a ride, man. And the market is very different now than when we started the podcast, but it's almost similar because right before COVID hit, I felt like it was kind of like right now. Like things were normalized. There was still a lot of good opportunities. And then COVID just threw a wrinkle in everything and really ramped up demand, and everybody jumped in and got used to having these crazy high ADR and revenue and occupancy and everything else. And now we're back to we're not even back. I mean, we're still way above 2019 levels, but it's normalized quite a bit. And I've seen a lot of people get out of the game now, which has been interesting.
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up because it's kind of funny. As you guys know, like my relationship kind of went a different way in my personal life. And in now looking at what we're doing with the business, it's really interesting to see because my mindset is always like there is up and downs. And the realization of how few people really have that kind of thick skin to endure the up and downs. And the fact that like if you start businesses thinking it's gonna be always on top and you're always gonna have extra cash and you're gonna be flushed all the time and things are gonna be great all the time, I don't think you're built to be a business owner. And I'm not saying that that's not something that can be learned over time, but there's people that are like talk to me and like I've had this conversation with my soon to be ex-wife and it's just like this is not what it used to be and blah blah blah. And I'm like, do you not remember when we started, like when I started with the villas like 12 years ago? There were months that like I would go to the bank the day the mortgage was due with cash because I literally could not afford to pay the mortgage a day before. And it wasn't like the day the mortgage was due, it was the day before the penalty started. And I remember that mortgage was $11,335. I remember that amount for the rest of my life. And some days it was actually like there was 5 days of grace periods. I would show up to BB&T Bank on 441 in Boca with a little. You know when you go to the bank and they give you the white envelope and they stuff like the cash in there. I would show up with that cash. I'd be like, almost didn't make it. And I think that it's like honestly, it's those moments that for me I am the most grateful for. And now going through the stuff that I'm going through is probably one of the tightest moments financially that I've been in a minute, and I have no shame to admit it. And yet, through the work that I've done, through the mindset work that I've done, this is the wealthiest that I feel spiritually and mentally that I ever have. And I have no doubts, bro. Like I'm thinking and dreaming bigger than I have in a long time. Because again, and I think that's why so many people that go bankrupt that are ultra millionaires just make it back. It's because you know your value as a human. You know the value of what you know, and you know the value of the mindset that you have. And you're like, dude, just put me back. Put me back in the ring. Put me back in the field. I know what I'm doing.
To me, that's the key. And for anybody that's been in business for a while, there's always these ups and there's always these downs. And the question is how do you handle it when you're, going through a rough patch or whatever? Can you innovate? And when we started this podcast during COVID, that's what we were doing. We were adjusting, we were changing up our marketing, we were attracting different demographics, like doing all those things. And a lot of people got washed out, that first half or 3 quarters of 2020, because if you didn't pivot, you were done. And most people threw their hands up and were like, I'm not allowed to rent to anybody. And I was like, not exactly. If you look at what they're saying, you can rent to essential workers. So are you marketing to essential workers, right? So
Mhm.
being an entrepreneur is being a problem solver. And so more problems that come your way, the better you get at solving them, the more money you make. But it all starts with a lot of the mindset work of I can handle this, and you're elevating your self-image all the time. That's why we've been doing more and more episodes around having Dave on, having Angie on, just like getting your mental toughness going to weather any storms. And I know a lot of people like they're doing really good. A lot of my properties are doing really good right now. Some of the hotels are doing really good right now. It's going to be market by market, but that's not even really the point. It's like you want to level yourself up So when things are going good, you keep your ego in check. And when things are going south a little bit, okay, I can pull myself back up and weather whatever storm is coming my way or adjust or pivot or whatever. And so it's just a reminder that if things are going great for you, awesome. I hope they keep going that way. And that's awesome. Just don't let your ego get in the way of your wallet, as I always say. So keep that ego in check. Make sure that you're staying on top of things. Don't rest on your laurels. Always look to innovate, always look to expand and grow. And if you're in a funk right now, that's okay too. That's normal. That's totally normal. Like you're going to have these ups and downs and everything in between. So you just want to keep pulling your bootstraps up and keep putting one foot in front of the other. And that's why I say to our mastermind students, the only two things that I really focus on and spend my time on, like studying, is leadership and mindset at this point.
100%.
Like that's it. It's the personal development and the leadership stuff. Because at this point, like I'm not the one pushing the buttons inside the software and talking to guests and doing all that stuff. It's just my energy cascades down to the rest of the team. So when I'm calm and I'm in a good place and I've got good energy, the rest of the team feels that and then they pass that on. But if they feel me freaking out or, getting angry or doing whatever, that cascades down to the whole team as well. So the better you are as a leader and the better you are at managing yourself, the more success you're going to have and the further you're going to go.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? That is one of the big things that I talked about with my team. And it's something that like I'm very fortunate that they understand and they believe and they see in me as a leader is having that conversation. Be like, I acknowledge that this year has gone the way it's gone, but I have your back. And they're like, yeah. Because they know that I'm like, the way that I look at business, I'm like, it's my duty. It's my responsibility to continue to grow and elevate for you guys. Because the way that things are now takes care of your livelihood. And I know you're good and grateful for it, but the things that we can do together as a team, it takes care of your lifestyle. And like, I am bent over backwards to the fact that I'm like, dude, we need to show up for them. And by we, I mean me, myself, and I, right? I'm like, we need to show up for these people because like they believe in us. And it is my job to continue to show up and elevate and grow and build opportunities for them. Because I know that like, dude, they believe in me, they rely on me, they allow me to be here for a month to be with my grandpa. Like I know this wouldn't be possible without my team. And I not only not take it for granted, I take it as a huge honor that like they believe in me as a leader enough to be like, hey boss, like I know things haven't been all that, but like we're here. Let us know how we can support you. Let us know if there is like slack that needs to be picked up. We're here. And I want to appreciate it, but then not with arrogance, but with like appreciation for what the journey has been. I also acknowledge I'm like, this is happening because of who I have been to them this entire time. And it just, dude, it makes me so hungry. And again, not hungry to like feed myself. Makes me hungry to like feed this team and the fact that like, dude, my cleaner, her daughter works with like in the summertime now. She's 17. She works with us. I gave employment to like Tasha's little brother when he was little, to Tasha's nephew, right? And I'm like, I love that, right? And so for me, as you're like are growing, and if you're going through this moment of like you're in a funk a little bit, understand that like you playing small does not serve anybody. And the fact that you can play as big as you can imagine. So, right, if you have this thing inside of you that you're like are seeing and imagining a life that is bigger than it is now, it's because you're meant to have it. Because I believe that if you're not meant to have a bigger life, you don't even dream about it. If you're not meant to have it, you can't even think about it. Does that make sense? Like, do you agree with me? Like, if you don't have that huge imagination, it's because it's just not meant for you. But if you can see it in your mind, there is a you that exists out there that you can tap into and you can create that is meant to have those things. So why are you holding back for who? Who does you holding back you help? Because it doesn't help you. It doesn't help the people that rely on you. It doesn't help your family. It doesn't help your society. It doesn't help your culture. It doesn't help your community. Who does it help?
I completely agree. And also looking at where things are at right now, I was talking to this marketing team that I've been working with. looks like I'm probably going to get some spots on like Fox Business or something. And they were throwing out different topics around inflation and housing market and all this stuff. And I was just like, man, I'm excited right now because when interest rates do drop to say sub 6%, there's going to be a massive buying frenzy. So if the math works now, I'd be buying up whatever you can get, or whatever you can get your hands on, because you can refinance in the future. I think Avery did a post on this, or I saw a reel that she did the other day about this, and I completely agree. Where it's like, 2 years ago, if you weren't going all cash, no contingencies, 50,000 over asking, you weren't getting a deal. And it was insane. Now the tide has turned. There's less inventory on the market, there's less buyers in the market. It's definitely a buyer's market right now. You have a lot more negotiating power. And I know because I've been on the seller side too, like unloading a property, like our old house that we lived at, right? And so if you're in the position to go grab a deal, I mean, the world is your oyster, as they say. Like just making sure that you understand how to analyze the properties, do your underwriting, all of those things. The biggest mistakes that I've seen since I've been coaching this stuff for the last 5 years is people get into the wrong deal. They don't underwrite it. They don't understand the market. They don't understand the numbers. You can fix a bad property, but you can't fix a bad deal. If you overpay for something and there's not enough upside, you're done. You can't fix a neighborhood. You can't fix when you overpay it, but you can renovate a property and get it up to snuff and improve it. So you really got to know your numbers going in. And that's why I've been preaching this for years. I've been giving out my deal analyzer and training on how to analyze deals. Like that was my superpower, man. I was a CPA for 10 years. I'm a numbers guy. Like I was teaching people how to do it. You can grab it for free in the Short Term Rental Secrets Facebook group. It's totally free. I've got a whole course in there and everything. So that would be my biggest advice is make sure that you understand how to underwrite deals. And if you have the capital, go out there before everybody else jumps back in the market. And if you don't have the capital, go out there and find these properties that are underperforming and build your co-hosting business. We've been averaging over 100 deals. I think we did 150 deals last month inside the mastermind through co-hosting, taking over properties that have been underperforming and turning them around for owners. So there's huge opportunities right now to grow the co-hosting side of the business. So whether you got capital to buy or whether you don't, you want to grow the co-hosting side, either way, there's huge opportunities. And the people that get it dialed in now are really going to see those dividends in the next 12 to 24 months. No question.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that the other thing is people like, if you see the opportunities right now, is the moment for you to invest in yourself and your people, because those are the people that are going to give you the freedom. And again, if you have a 9 to 5 right now and you're in the process of exiting a 9 to 5, but you have a business that is ready to support you, continue to build the business to support you well enough to support you in the back a little bit longer, right? Because this is the moment, like, right? Like as everybody is contracting, is your moment to expand. And so, like, if you have the opportunity, you see the things, because the other thing that is happening now is as people are contracting, there is great talent that is coming onto the marketplace. And going back to great leadership, people want a great environment to work in. And so if you provide them with a great environment to work in and you can continue to do that, you continue to elevate yourself as a leader, you're in a great position to really grow yourself in this next 6, 12 to 18 months, where you're going to be in a completely different spot afterwards. Completely different spot.
100% with way less competition.
Way less competition. People are being super stressed financially, which with the bad leadership leads to people trickling down what you said earlier, right? Trickling down that stress down to their employees and their team. And so people are like in a spot where they cannot leave because life is expensive, but they're desperately looking for a place where they enjoy working in, that gives them opportunity, that values them as people. So it's like, okay, like this is your moment. So again, like if you can see the opportunity and you have the vision and you have the imagination, this is not your moment to shrink. It's not. Because dude, like 4 years ago, we should have shrunk like everybody else did.
No, we shouldn't have. We didn't. right?
No,
We
we
just
shouldn't have,
we
but
just
like
don't accept that.
that's what society would have said. Like that's what most people did around us. And instead, what did
Yeah.
we do? Like I bought 20 apartments in a month. We started we started a podcast. We did all kinds of things. And dude, like look at where we are now 4 years later. Like we're the example of the gamble and the imagination and the vision paying off. Because you and I never saw ourselves playing small.
No, exactly. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the podcast. We will get back to it in just a minute, but I wanted to share something with you about our Short Term Rental Secrets Facebook community. If you haven't joined it yet, I've got 4 reasons why you should. First off, it's completely free. Second, we have some amazing resources in there. First, you're going to get our deal analyzing tool that I personally built and we have used to analyze thousands of deals all over the world for our mastermind students at this point. I want you to have that completely free because the worst thing that you can do is get into a bad deal. It's very hard to fix your way out of a bad deal. So you got to know your numbers going into that. And I've got a free training that you can use to teach you how to use that tool effectively. The second thing is I put together a 6-part course on our Casper method on how I build businesses all the way from the beginning, how to set up my foundation, how to set up my entities, all the way through getting properties, automating, launching, scaling, hiring people. It is our unique Casper method that I use anytime I'm building a business. You'll have that completely free. Third, we have a live training every single week where it's either myself or one of our SDR Secrets coaches that are giving you free content, free actionable steps, and a chance for you to jump on and ask your questions to us directly, completely free. And the last and arguably one of the coolest things that we started doing lately is we're posting free co-hosting leads in that group every single day. So my team is going out and farming for these leads and posting them in the group for free for you to go and work those leads. And as part of that free training course that's in there, we'll show you how to go out and what to say, how to close those deals, how to onboard them, everything. So again, if you haven't joined the Short Term Rental Secrets Facebook community yet, head over there, click the join button. It's completely free. I'll see you on the inside. And now let's get back to the episode. So to me, it's an encouraging time. It's an exciting time. And it's one of those periods. Like if you look at any big transfers of wealth when people really got going, it was when everybody else was afraid, right? As Warren Buffett says, be greedy when everybody else is fearful and be fearful when everybody else is greedy. So right now is there's a lot of fear for a lot of people that are either in the game already with 1 or 2 properties that really didn't know what they were doing, or people that have been sitting on the sidelines like, oh, I'm going to buy something when interest rates come down. Well, when interest rate comes down, prices are going to go up, just the way it works. So I'd rather buy something now with more negotiating power and then refinance in 12 to 24 months when interest rates come down and be in a better position. It's just economics. And it's getting out of your own head. And I can't remember who told me this, but maybe it was Matty A or somebody, but it was like, if you want to be part of the 1%, you got to not do what everybody else is doing. If everybody else is sitting on the sidelines, it means you should probably get in the game. If everybody's in the game and everybody's buying, you should probably wait a little bit. Make sure you get a really good deal. Like just do the opposite of what the masses are doing. And you'll be good.
Yeah, I love that advice. And I love, if Matty said it, I love him as a person. So we'll definitely have him back on the show. We had him a while back. But since then, he's had a baby, has had a huge exit from some hotels, and he's working on some very cool projects. So we'll definitely have him back on. And again, like we're not saying be reckless, right? Like that's never that's never the advice that comes out of the show. So if you're hearing that, that's not what we're saying. We're saying know your numbers, and if the numbers are good enough but a little bit tight, but you can get a great deal from it with the intention of then fixing it up, taking care of it well, running it well, and then refinancing it when the interest rate goes down and there's less competition on from that perspective, that's what you do. If not, it's a great time to look into buying businesses. That is something that I've been thinking a lot about. Is there opportunity? And our good friend Patrick does this quite a bit. It's just like, is there opportunities out there for me to get my hands on another property management company that is small enough, that hasn't been running well, where people became managers in the frenzy of the vacation rental boom, let's call it, that hasn't operated well, or that's not really what they love doing, that you can get your hands on. Again, like this is a moment of really looking around at yourself and really allowing yourself to dream maybe bigger than you ever have. And that's kind of like where we're going now. Like that's where I've been thinking a lot about. So I'm going back to Puglia, which is a region in the southern part of Italy where I went to last year, because I've been itching to come home. And my idea is to come home next year, September, like June to September, but not on holiday, but like building and creating something here. So in a moment where society tells me, hey, you need to shrink, you need to slow down, you're getting a divorce, things are going sideways, you have less money than you ever have in the last 4 to 5 years. What are you doing? I'm like, why? I'm gonna go look for opportunities. Why wouldn't I? Are you not looking at hotels right now, Mike? Are you not underwriting hotels right now?
Yeah, we just did it an hour ago or whatever, 2 hours ago on the boardroom.
You know what I'm saying? And isn't there great deals? Like there's people selling, there is people that don't have the money. There is always opportunities. And if you listen to the show, I think you know by now that I'm a huge believer. And this is the same thing. I posted a post by Cody Sanchez the other day that is like, regardless of who the president is going to be, and this is not a political statement, if you want a different life, you gotta go out there and build it. If you want a different life and the economy is going badly, nobody's gonna come to save you. Nobody ever saves you. If you want better for you, yourself, your family, your friends, your community, you gotta go out there and do it. And like nobody has ever done it in any other way.
This dovetails in perfectly with what I wanted to kind of wrap the episode with. And the biggest thing that I've seen hold people back, it's not the economy, it's not inflation, it's not markets, it's not anything else. It's that they're too comfortable. Maybe you relate to this if you're listening to this podcast. But I had a call this morning, actually, with somebody that was looking at the mastermind and whatever. And he's like, well, I don't know. The timing, I kind of want to wait till September and do this. And I was like, that's fine. I mean, if you want to join, great. If you don't, that's totally cool. But I said, you're not going to do anything until you figure out what you want and why. Because I said, your biggest problem right now is that you're too comfortable. You've got a cushy job, make decent income. It'd be nice to leave the job. It would be nice to create financial freedom for yourself, but there's no sense of urgency. And so as humans, we're hardwired for safety. So if we're comfortable and there's no major pain, then we have to create artificially some type of pain and some type of vision that's going to excite us to create a burning desire to change. Because whether you're just getting into it or you're looking to really scale it or you've got some big goals, you've got to find some pressure points on yourself that are going to drive you to keep going. Because at each phase you get to, even after you get out of your job and then you get comfortable again, what's going to drive you to keep going to the next level? And whether it's within short-term rentals or something else, humans are goal-seeking organisms. So when we stop pushing, when we stop having something to look forward to, all of a sudden you're going to notice it's going to creep in slowly, but you're going to just stop. You're going to start to get like annoyed and you're just like, I don't understand why I'm not happy. Like I should be grateful. Like everything is good. Like why is that? It's because you're not growing. You're not striving for anything. You're just existing. And that's how most people go through life. And that's why they're so miserable at their jobs. At one point, they were excited about getting that job. And then what happened? They stopped growing. They started getting content. They started doing the bare minimum to get by. And they started living for the weekends. I'll let you in on a secret. There's only so much golf you can do. There's only so many beach days you can have. There's only so many times you can take the boat out. We all need some type of purpose, whether it's in business, family, or whatever, something that you're working towards that's going to keep challenging you to improve yourself. If you don't have that, spend some time thinking about it. Set some goals that are going to stretch you. That is always the ultimate fulfillment. Think of the times when you've been like really proud of yourself. It wasn't because you did something easy. It was because you did something hard. I remember, I'll never forget when he ran and he did that Ironman. I was tracking him on the app the whole time. What was it? Almost 16 hours to do that thing.
15 hours and 52 minutes.
That's insane. 2.1 mile open water swim, 110-mile bike, and then run a full marathon in a day. Like, that's insane, and that's something you should be proud of for the rest of your life. Like, that is an extreme thing, a big goal to set that has nothing to do with business, but it's just showing you what you're capable of. Like, that's it. I remember running the New York Marathon back in 2018. I'll never forget this. I crossed the finish line. I had never run more than 5 miles in my life before I started training 2 months before this thing. I crossed the finish line. I felt great, and 10 minutes later, I was like, "What is next?" And I remember calling my coach, like, 2 days later when I got back from New York. I was like, "I think there's something wrong with me." Like, I just achieved this physical feat that I thought was impossible, and within 10 minutes, I was already like, "All right, what's next?"
Mhm.
And she said something, she goes, "There is nothing wrong with you. We're just wired to achieve goals, and we're always more fulfilled when we achieve goals. So if you don't have anything to chase, that's when you get stagnant, and that's when you get discontentment because 'cause you're just like, "I'm just existing." So start setting some goals and start going after it. You'll be amazed what you're capable of when you get out of your own way and you fully commit to something that is exciting. Most people do not make decisions. They don't set actual goals. They have wishes. It'd be nice if I got this. It'd be nice if this happened, but they never commit to it. When you commit to it, you're not asking yourself, how long is this going to take? You're just telling yourself, I'm going to do this until I get the result. And it triggers something inside of you where you don't make excuses. You don't look for plan Bs. You're just like, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to keep taking action until I get this result. Period. And once you do that, your eyes are going to open up to the possibility of you can do anything that you want. And you've been selling yourself short for however long you've been doing this. But you got to start stacking those wins and get around people that are going to support, encourage, and challenge you and not let you off the hook. Cause, oh, you know what? I'm just really tired. Yeah, you know what? You've been working really hard. Why don't you take a little time off? Why don't you just slow down a bit? Don't hang out with those people. They're not going to get you to the next level. I want people in my ear that are telling me to keep pushing. But why should I do that? Because to E's point, nobody wins when I play small. Nobody. I want to set the standards for my family, for my kids, for my students, for you as a listener. And the bigger I go, the more charitable impacts that I get to have. I choose to support OUR, which rescues kids from human trafficking. So the more money I make, the more kids I help save through those amazing people that execute those missions. So if I get soft and I stop pushing, how many kids are stuck in that horrible situation because I didn't feel like working? Because I would rather choose to be lazy and do nothing with my time.
Mhm.
That's what I mean
Or
about finding an edge on yourself.
yeah, or choose to live in fear. Because by you being fearful, you being selfish. How selfish are you that you don't want to start a podcast or start the business or grow the business because you're scared? Stop. Stop it. You're thinking about yourself. You're being scared because you're thinking about you. Thinking about, oh, poor me, how embarrassing, how hard, how blah, 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 blah. Stop. If Mike and I didn't start this podcast 4 years ago, and this is the question for the OG listeners, where would you be now? Did Mike and I have doubts about starting the show? Did Mike and I like things where like there were times that we didn't want to do things? Yeah, we're humans. But dude, we love giving back. We love serving. And like, dude, there's nothing that hits for me as much as when we're somewhere at an event or something and people walk up to me and Mike is like, dude, guys, you guys, without you, we wouldn't have done this. And that's all I want. I want people that are like completely fearless to just create the biggest life that they can create. Because one, you're blessed enough that you have the opportunity and you can. Because you know how many people in this world would like to have a bigger life and they just physically, geographically, logistically can not. Not because they're scared. Like their life is scary enough as it is. They just cannot. So why are we playing small? Why are you letting fear run your life? Why are you letting laziness run your life? Laziness is just another form of fear, just disguising something else. Procrastination is the same thing, right? All of those things are all fear. You're just being scared. And courage is what, Mike? Courage is what? Acting.
In spite of fear, man.
Yeah. Like, dude, like the stuff that I want to do in Puglia scares me. Because I don't know Italy like that. I haven't done business in Italy like that. I don't talk business Italian that well. Like, it just all of this, right? If I can start stacking things. And yet I'm like, I haven't been this excited because going back to the thing, right? Like my relationship started going sour. I got the villas right after that started happening, and I've been aimless and feeling stuck. And that led, Mike knows my story, that had led me to some of the deepest moments in my life of just complete sadness and aimlessness and just losing myself. And if I didn't pull my boots up and be like, quit being scared, I would have gone down a very, very different road, right? Addiction runs in my family. It's a very easy hop from one side of the to the train tracks, right? And I realized that I was just being scared. So don't be scared. Mike and I are a clear example of people that have acted despite of fear in very, very different ways, in very many ways. And it's an honor for us to inspire and help and support you guys, our coaches, our community, our families, our friends. Like I see it here coming back home, right? I am the kid that got away. And it's a badge of honor. And not from cockiness, from the fact that I'm like, dude, I am so grateful. And I'm here to be an example that we can all do it.
The only thing I'd say is I just want to thank you for listening, whether you're new or whether you've been with us since the beginning. This has been a pretty amazing journey, and I always love it when I get the messages. I was trying to pull one up because I saw one come through this morning, to your point that you were saying earlier. Somebody that's been listening for a while, and they added a bunch of doors and everything else. And to me, that's awesome. You know what I mean? If you take this information, you go act on it, you engage in the community, you get feedback, you get help, you get resources, and you go out and you change your life. That's what this whole podcast was about, inspiring and empowering people to reach financial independence. So appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for tuning in. If we can be a resource for you, please join the Facebook group. It's free, and you can engage with us. Like, I'm super active in there. I do a live training every Wednesday, cover a wide range of topics. We let people jump on video with us, ask us your questions directly, look at your listings, whatever you need to just help you grow your business. Again, it's totally free, and it's just a fun way to engage with the listeners. So appreciate you. Hope you have an amazing week. We'll talk to you soon. Hey, STR Nation, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. And in the comments, let us know what topics you want us to cover on upcoming episodes, and we'll make sure to get that in the books for you. And if you really want to learn how to launch, automate, and scale your short-term rental business, if you want to go deeper, then check out our free masterclass at strsecrets.com.